Two Supreme Court justices, gone in a single night. Different cities, different methods, no obvious connection. Except one. They weren't targeted for what they had done, but for decisions they hadn't made yet. And a 24-year-old law student is about to figure out why. Her name is Darby Shaw. She's brilliant, driven, and completely unprepared for what's coming. Because within 72 hours, the people responsible for those deaths will quietly decide something else, that she has to be erased too. This is the story of how a college paper became a death sentence. It begins with confusion. Justice Rosenberg, a liberal icon in his 80s, is found lifeless in his Georgetown home. No forced entry, no signs of struggle, just silence. Hours later, Justice Jensen, a younger conservative with a rising reputation, is discovered in a theater across town. Same outcome, different setting. America is stunned. The FBI has no motive, no clear suspects. Two justices with opposing ideologies removed on the same night. It makes no sense, unless you know where to look. Darby Shaw is a second-year law student at Tulane University. Sharp, focused, the kind of student who doesn't just read cases, she dissects them. Her professor, Thomas Callahan, is also her secret partner. Older, connected, brilliant in his own way. Their nights are filled with legal debates, theory, and hypothetical scenarios. But this case won't let Darby sleep. She starts digging. Voting histories, pending cases, unfinished opinions. And then she sees it. Both justices had ruled, or were expected to rule, in favor of environmental protections that threatened offshore oil drilling in Louisiana. Drilling tied to fragile wetlands. Drilling worth billions. And standing to lose everything is one man. Victor Matisse, an oil tycoon, politically connected, relentless. A man who doesn't accept obstacles, especially legal ones. The Supreme Court wasn't just slowing him down, it was blocking his future. Darby puts it all together in a legal theory. She names it the Pelican Brief, after the endangered species at the heart of the environmental case. To her, it's just an academic exercise, a thought experiment. She shows it to Callahan. He's impressed, concerned, and against her better judgment, he shares it with a contact. That's the moment everything changes. Callahan never comes home. His car explodes outside Darby's apartment. She was supposed to be inside. 5 seconds earlier, and this story would have ended right there. Darby understands immediately. The brief wasn't speculative, it was accurate. And now someone knows she wrote it. She doesn't call the police. She doesn't trust the FBI. Because when power reaches this high, protection becomes a myth. Darby vanishes into New Orleans. She changes her appearance, pays in cash, avoids patterns. But she's already being tracked. A professional operative, known only as Camille, has been activated. The same figure responsible for the justices. Quiet, precise, invisible. Darby Shaw is now his next assignment. Meanwhile, in Washington, the brief spreads. It reaches federal agencies, intelligence offices, and finally, the White House. Everyone who reads it reaches the same conclusion. If this theory is true, it's one of the most devastating political scandals in modern history. The president scrambles to contain the damage. Advisors begin quietly discrediting the brief. Press pressure increases. Files disappear. Because Victor Matisse isn't just a donor. He's the reason the president is in office. And debts like that are dangerous. Darby realizes hiding won't save her. The only way to survive is to make the truth too loud to silence. So she makes a final gamble. She contacts investigative journalist Gray Grantham. At first, he's skeptical. A law student with a sweeping conspiracy sounds impossible. Until he starts verifying. And people connected to the brief start vanishing from the story. Sources go quiet. Careers end overnight. Warnings are issued. Gray realizes something chilling. Darby isn't exaggerating. She's ahead of everyone else. Together, they dig deeper. Financial trails, shell companies, offshore accounts. Everything leads back to Matisse and beyond him. But the closer they get, the tighter the net becomes. Darby narrowly escapes capture in New York. Gray's communications are monitored. Editors are pressured. At one point, Darby nearly breaks. She's exhausted, terrified, outmatched. This is where most stories end, where truth disappears quietly. But then, a crack. A conscience inside the system leaks documents, real proof, meetings, payments, connections tying Matisse directly to the operations behind the scenes. Gray verifies everything. The presses are prepared. The White House tries to stop it, legally, politically, desperately. But it's too late. The story breaks. America erupts. Investigations begin. Matisse flees the country. Alliances crumble. The president denies direct knowledge and distances himself, letting others fall. And the operative behind it all disappears. Some say he was silenced. Others say he's still out there. Darby Shaw survives, not because the system protected her, but because she refused to be quiet.